I had a nice childhood, I have to say that. I had a lot of friends that lived locally, which was important because, growing up in a bedsit where we just had no space and there were four of us on top of each other, it was good that, I was just able to get out a lot of the time and spend a lot of time in houses that looked like houses should look like. I had one friend who lived just a couple of roads away, and I used to love going to his house. It was a really big family. He had a little brother, a little sister, always a busy house, always food there. We'd gather in the kitchen. We had a great time, and I really enjoyed it. We'd go out in the garden, play football, and we were really close until the spring of '83, that is. And I'd gone round there, sat with a family watching television. I think it was an evening, weekday evening, and I just decided to pop to the loo, opened the door, and the mum was in there, sat on the bowl, and all she said was engaged. And I was just, I'm here, you've seen me, you've just been in the front room a while ago. I didn't know you were in here. You've got a couple of bathrooms. You just had to lock the door. It was a horrendous moment. It was a moment that I felt our friendship would struggle to overcome. And much later, I had no idea why the mum would have continued to welcome me to their house, knowing what I had seen, knowing that as a young boy, the likelihood was that I would, go home and tell my parents what had happened. I can't remember if I did. I suspect I probably did, maybe not right away, but it definitely scarred me, and the relationship, the friendship, pretty much tailed off after that. I just felt very uncomfortable going round there. About a year later, missing my friend, I wrote to him, even though he only lived a couple of roads away. We didn't have a phone, a house phone. We wouldn't have a house phone for another 6 years, no, 7 years, summer of '90, late summer of '90, the house phone finally came. And so I wrote to him, I got a response back, and one Saturday, in a last ditch effort to repair the friendship, we went to see Greystoke at the Streatham ABC or Streatham Odeon. And it was a nice time. I was a bit of a, Tarzan fan. I'd grown up watching Johnny Weissmuller films repeated on BBC Two. But something just didn't feel right. It felt like his mum with her ungroomed parts, because that's what they were, was just there between us. There was no way of getting past this. And here's another thing that really surprises me is that, given what I saw, I am surprised that she wasn't done on the having more children front, because I don't know. I mean, I know it was the '80s, but I'm not sure that there was a no grooming rule in place in the '80s for men and women. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that was maybe his dad was into that kind of thing. Anyway, I digress. I remember on the Sunday, we arranged on the Sunday that we would do something again. I don't know if it was I was supposed to go to his house or he was supposed to come round. I do remember that he turned up, and I stepped outside and I stood in the front porch and I said to him, you know what, I don't think this is going to work. I was giving him the it's not you, it's me thing. But really, it wasn't him, it wasn't me, it was his mum. I just didn't think the friendship could continue without some form of mutual acknowledgement as to what had happened the year before. And it's 35, 36 years ago, but I tell you now, honestly, if I hadn't gone to the loo, if I hadn't opened that door, if she had locked that door, this kid and I would have been friends for the rest of our lives. And if you're a parent and you're watching this and your children regularly have friends coming over, please Lock the door if you're using the loo when you have your children's friends over, because this is what can happen when you don't lock the door. That woman cost me a friend.